Hello YouTube friends, welcome to this week's yoga practice. I hope you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves. I thought this week I'd like to read you this quote that I came across recently, which I really thought was very valuable in this time that we're living in right now. And I'm going to read it to you. It says, "In a pandemic, self-isolation is called quarantine. In Buddhism, it's called a retreat. From the cave of our home, like the meditators of ancient times, we can consciously kindle the lamp of compassion and connection." This was by Lama Willa Miller, and I came across it as I was, scrolling through Facebook as you do, and it just really touched me. It's all about perspective right now. It's all about how we choose to see what's going on in the world. We're fed so many different ideas and stories about what's going on, but ultimately I think we have to make up our own minds of how we choose to be in this time and how we choose to perceive it. So I know for myself, it's not always perfect, but I'm doing the best that I can to stay on track with everything that I've learned in the yoga practice, and to stay with the connection to my body, to my breath, and to stay in that place of trust, and to know that everything will move in the way that it's supposed to. And my job right now is to keep myself strong and healthy so I can keep doing this. I can keep sharing this practice with you, and we can support each other in this way. So as you set up for your practice today, you're going to need a couple blocks and a strap. If you don't have a strap or blocks, you can use books stacked up on top of each other. You can use a scarf for a strap or a belt, anything like that. If you have a blanket, yoga blanket, great. If not, a regular blanket, a cushion, or a towel as something to sit on, okay? So now let's take a comfortable seat and close the eyes for a few moments. Sit up on either your block or your blanket. Lift up through your spine. Gently draw the shoulders back and close your eyes. As you close your eyes, let the eyes close very softly. Feel the muscles in your face soften and relax. Feel your jaw releasing. And bring your attention from the outer world inside the container of your body. We describe that sometimes in the practice as coming home, coming back home to the body. Our body can be our resting place. It can be a refuge that we come back to over and over again. It can be an anchor for the mind, a resting place for the mind. And as we tap into our body, it shows us the truth of what is. It gives us space to shift back into a more trusting relationship, not only with our body, but with everything around us. our body knows how to heal itself. And this practice gives us a way to literally step aside and observe what's happening in our body and let the body do what it knows how to do. So instead of always being the one to try to control everything, we're able to relax back and trust and observe. Observe the body, observe the breath. So we do the best we can. We set everything up in the best way we know. We stay healthy, we eat well, we rest, we sleep. And then at a certain point, we have to let it go. We have to surrender and know that we've done the best that we can. And to trust in that. And that's the journey of each yoga posture, each yoga asana, is we set it up, we align the body to the best ability we have. We arrive in the posture, and then we surrender, then we let go, and we trust, and we breathe into that. So let's make that the intention for our practice today as we draw the hands together at the heart. Lift the heart up towards your thumbs. Feel the heart space broaden and open as you gently bow your head to your heart. And lift your head. And release the hands and softly open your eyes. Okay, so let's come down onto the mat. You're going to come down and lay on your back. So as you come on down, have your strap next to you so that you don't have to sit up and grab it in a moment. Bend your knees and place your feet flat on your mat with your feet, walking your feet out so they're as wide as the mat. Open your arms out so that they just feel spacious by your sides. And then we're going to start with a simple windshield wiper action with the legs. So just taking them, the knees across towards one side and then the other. And just begin to feel this kind of more fluid, relaxed movement in the pelvis. As we work on the hips today, and bringing your attention to this part of the body. And knowing that it's just as much about learning how to relax certain parts of the body as it is about strengthening and opening and engaging. Right? We want to practice all these qualities. So now next time your knees are over to the left, let them rest there towards the left side. Now take your left ankle and you're going to cross it carefully over the outer right thigh. Flex the ankle, keep the ankle strong, and then gently press the right knee down. Just do it very softly, nothing forceful. Maybe you begin to feel a little bit of a deeper opening on the outside of your right thigh, outer right hip, down the outer leg, the IT band. And then release, uncross the ankle and bring your knees back up. Take it to the other side, hips to the, knees to the right, sorry. And then take the right ankle and cross it over the outer left thigh. Again here, you might begin to feel a little bit of a deeper opening in the outer left hip, outer left thigh. Soften the breath. And then release, take the ankle off, and just do one more round of slow windshield wipers. And this time let it be more of a massage across the back of the pelvis and into the outer hips. Let it be a nice, soft and fluid movement. Just letting go of any tension. Soften the face, relax your eyes. And then slowly bring your knees back up and place your feet flat onto your mat. Now we're going to straighten the left leg down. And as we straighten the left leg onto the mat, we're going to turn the top of the left thigh in and press the inner left thigh and the inner left heel down. Keep that left thigh really grounded and pick up your right knee, interlacing the fingers on the right shin. And then start to draw the right knee slowly in. Now what's key here to note is that what we're trying not to do is we're trying not to collapse the lower back into the mat and then let the left thigh pop up. So what I want you to do is rather focus on the left thigh staying down. Keep some curve in the lower back. So the top of your sacrum area should be lifting in and up, and the lumbar spine should be in more of a concave curve. Now, when you draw your right knee in and you do it that way, you're probably not going to be able to get the knee in as close to the chest. It doesn't matter. Just take the knee in to wherever you can take it, but focusing much more on spaciousness in the lower back rather than trying to get that knee in and then we collapse and we misalign the spine. So, keeping it here for another breath here, keeping the natural curve, left thigh grounding down. And then we're going to bend the left knee and place the left foot flat and cross the right ankle now over the left thigh and thread the needle. So take the hands to the back of the left thigh, interlace the fingers, flex the right ankle, and then start to draw the legs in. Now you'll feel that right hip externally rotating. Now even here, which is not as easy, even here, can you keep some curve in your lower back, some space there? Press the outer right hip down. Find where your edge is and breathe into it for a few slow breaths. Just keeping your mind anchored inside your body. So even though you know there's things going on around you, you know, you're in your home, maybe you have other people around, you're choosing very consciously not to pay attention to what's happening on the outside. It can be there. You're not trying to change anything or push it away, but rather shifting your attention to focus on only what's on the inside right now. So training your mind just as much as training your body. Now bring your left foot down and we're going to take it into a half happy baby now. So take that right foot, flex the foot and grab the outer edge of your right foot with your right hand. Now start to pull down slowly, deepening the flexion in your right hip. Point your right toe straight back towards the wall behind you. And hug the right leg in rather than letting it stick out to the side. See if you can hug it in a little bit more. You can always hold the foot with both hands. I like to do that. Or even a strap. If it's too difficult to grab the foot, put a strap around your foot and hold onto the strap instead. Now slide your left leg straight down onto your mat and begin to push the left foot away until you're pushing it into an imaginary wall. Now just take a quick look up at that left leg. Now often what happens is the left leg is turning out here. So I want you to turn the top of your left thigh in as much as you can until your left kneecap and your left toes are pointing straight up rather than out to the left. Keep pushing, pushing with that left foot as if you're standing on that left leg, and take 2 more slow, smooth breaths here. Keep reaching through the left foot, holding the right hip where it is. So now you should feel a much deeper opening in the left leg. And then slowly release the right foot, bring your feet flat on your mat again. And let's bring the soles of the feet together in between here and just let the hips relax for a few breaths. Just feel the weight of the legs and the hips releasing completely. I'm sure you've heard it many times that we hold a lot in our hips. Well, it really is true. And you only really understand that not so much as a concept when somebody is telling you that, but rather as an experience. When you really start to learn how to get into the hips deeply, you feel parts of yourself, places that you didn't even know were there, beginning to release and let go. The breath becomes fuller. And it just feels like a relief when you start to get into those tight, held places. So draw the knees back together and reach for your strap. Now you're going to put the strap around the ball of the right foot and stretch the right leg straight up in the air. We're going to practice Tsukuda Padangusthasana. So now once the strap is on the ball of the right foot, straighten the left leg down. Now keep the right leg just vertical here. So you're not trying to pull it way in towards your chest. Move it further away. And again, notice what's happening in your left leg first. Turn that left thigh in and press it down. Keep it anchored and then press the ball of your right foot up into the strap. So you're trying to straighten both legs fully first. Now notice your lower back area. Do you have some space there, or is the back flat on the mat? If it's flat on the mat, move the right leg further away until you can feel some space there. Left thigh pressing down, right foot pushing up against the strap. Now, as long as you can keep some space in the lumbar spine, now you could draw the right leg a little bit closer toward the chest. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Outer right hip is moving down away from the right shoulder. Left thigh is still really firmly rooted into the mat. The moment your lower back is completely flat, you've gone too far. So be aware of that. If that's happening, just back out. Okay, now let's put both of the straps into the right hand. Now we're going to open the right leg slowly out to the right. And as it opens out to the right, we're pushing the ball of the foot into the strap. and we're turning the top of the left thigh in still. So use your left hand here and press that left hip point down. The right hip is outwardly rotating, so move the outer right hip down away from the right shoulder and push again, push. Make both legs an inch longer if you can. Now inhale and lift the right leg back up slowly. Keep the strap on the same leg, but switch hands. Put the strap in the left hand. Bend the left knee, put the left foot flat, pick up your hips and move your hips to the right side of your mat. Now re-straighten the left leg back down. Now this right leg is going to go across towards the left. Keep going, keep going, keep going until your right hip has stacked on top of your left hip. You're pressing the outer right hip down and pushing the ball of the foot into the strap. Now stretch the right arm straight up. Draw from those fingertips, plug the right arm bone into the shoulder socket and twist to the right. Turn the belly to the right. Turn the chest. And breathe here. Slow, fluid breaths. Inhale, lift the right leg back up. Bring your hips back to the center of the mat. Take the strap off for a moment and straighten both legs down. Feel the difference between the right leg and the left leg now. I can feel a lot of difference in mine. Much more sensation in my right leg. Feels more grounded, more connected to the earth. So let's do the second side. Put the strap around the ball of the left foot, stretch the left leg up. Now straighten the right leg down and turn the top of the right thigh in so that the right toes are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Left leg is vertical, so again, remember, we're not trying to get it way in toward the chest right now. Move it further away. Keep the right thigh turning in and grounding down, and then check, do you have some curve in the lower back? Engage the muscles in your legs, make them nice and strong, and then either stay with this, or maybe you're ready to begin to bring the left leg a little closer, as long as the right thigh doesn't come up. Keep it rooting down. If you feel your lower back is completely flat on the mat, then back off with the left leg. One more breath. Now put the straps into the left hand and open the leg out to the left very slowly and carefully. As the leg opens, pressing the right thigh down. The left hip is outwardly rotating. Push the ball of the foot into the strap. And keep grounding the right thigh into the mat. One more breath, make both legs as long as you can, reaching out through the legs. And then inhale, lift the left leg back up slowly. Switch hands, put the strap in the right hand, bend the right knee, pick up your hips and scoot them over to the left. Now take the left leg over towards the right. Keep it in line with the hip. Press the outer left hip down. Take your left arm, stretch it up. Draw from the fingertips, plug the arm bone into the shoulder socket and begin to twist to the left slowly. Reach evenly, equally through both legs. And then slowly inhale and lift the leg back up. Bring your hips back to the center, take the strap off, put it to the side. And again, just straighten your legs on the mat. Just feel the weight of the legs again, heavy and grounded. And then slowly you'll bend your knees and place your feet flat. Roll over to your right side. And let's come on up to the hands and knees. And we'll take a few rounds of slow cat-cow. Okay? I'm just going to put my little microphone back on me there. So, cat-cow. Slowly. Now, as we do cat-cow today, let's focus on the pelvis. Tilting the pelvis all the way forward and all the way back. Now, this is a really crucial action to understand when it comes to opening the hips. This movement of tilting the pelvis forward and back. Let's do a few more slowly. You might describe it as tucking and untucking the pelvis. Then slowly come back to neutral spine. All right, so from neutral spine now, you're going to step your right foot forward, and the right foot is going to go to the right side of the mat. So that it's just on the outer edge of the mat. Your right toes are pointing straight forward, okay? And you're up on your fingertips. Now begin to bend the front leg a little deeper and then walk the fingertips forward out in front of you, keeping the chest lifted and open. Now if you have blocks here, maybe you put the blocks underneath your elbows and you come down onto the blocks. Or you can come down onto your elbows without the blocks. So I'll do it here with the blocks just so you can see. As I'm sitting down into my right hip, I'm lengthening through the spine. So what I'm trying to avoid is this kind of hunching in the back, which can happen if you bring your elbows down and your body's not quite ready to go that far, right? So that's why we use the blocks, to create more space and freedom. Now, come back to your hands, move the blocks away if you're using them. And we'll stay here and take a twist. So left hand down underneath the left shoulder. Turn your belly and your chest to the right. Put your right hand on the top of your right thigh and push it down. And then begin to slowly curl back, opening your chest. Now extend the right arm up as you're ready. And breathe here, twisting and curling back as you sit down into your right hip. Slowly exhale to release and bring the foot back in until it's in line with your right hip. Here again, blocks can be useful. We're going to shift the pelvis all the way back. Now as we shift the hips back, flex that right ankle so the toes are pointing straight up and you're actually trying to pull the toes back more towards your chest, which is going to create a nice stretch in that right calf muscle. So now up on your fingertips, lift the chest and then really dig that right heel down into your mat. Be mindful not to lock out the knee, to not hyperextend it. Every time we hyperextend our joints, we disempower our body. We can't engage the muscles around the joints. And then we put stress on the joints themselves. So unlock your knee, dig your right heel down and try to engage all the muscles in your right leg. That'll keep you busy for a while, right? Just noticing, are my leg muscles in that right leg really fully engaged, or are they kind of soft and loose? Hug the muscles all the way up through the leg, into the hip, into the pelvis. Keep that, lift your chest, and then slowly exhale and fold over. Now, if you don't need the blocks, you can move them to the side and keep lengthening your chest towards your toes. So again here, being mindful not to hunch the back. 2 more slow breaths. And then slowly bend the right knee. Place the right foot flat. And then step back. And switch sides. Left foot forward. Move the foot to the outside of the mat and have your hands on the inside to start with. Sit down a little deeper into your left hip and keep your chest open. And then stay here, or again, I'll show you with the blocks. Come down onto your elbows. Keep the chest more spacious and open. Again, it's not always about how deep you're going into any pose, but rather, does it feel spacious? Does it feel open? Does it feel well aligned? Those are the things that are important here. Hug the left leg in. And breathe. And then you'll come back to your hands, move the blocks to the side if you're using them, and we'll take the twist. So right hand underneath the right shoulder, twist to the left this time, turn your belly, turn your chest, open your left arm and reach up. Curling back with the upper back. And then exhale, slowly release the left hand down. And this time we'll take it all the way back to downward facing dog. Now as you come to your downward dog, pedal out your feet. Pedal out your ankles. Even roll over to the tops of the toes, just get your feet a little more awake. And then eventually start to set it up with your feet parallel. Hip width distance apart, bend the knees. Lift the sit bones. So now, like we did in cat-cow, the 2 directions we were working on, right? We were working on tilting the pelvis forward and tilting the pelvis back. Tilting the pelvis forward and tilting it back. Let's do it here with the knees bent so we can feel this action. So untucking the pelvis and then tucking. Do it a few times so it really becomes clear to you these movements here, this direction. Now the next time you're untucking the pelvis, that's where you're going to stay. You're going to lift and broaden the sit bones. Lifting them up towards the sky with the pelvis more untucked. Lift the armpits away from the mat And then keep the pelvis untucked and see if you can begin to press your thighs back. Press your ankles back slowly, keeping that action of untucking in the pelvis. Now slowly walk your feet forward to your hands at the top of your mat. Separate the feet slightly apart, hip width distance. Allow the knees to bend. Now again here, can you untuck your pelvis so that there's a lengthening from your hamstrings up into your sit bones. Your sit bones are lifting up as the spine releases down. What happens here is often we do the opposite. We are tucking the pelvis and then we end up like this. And we get stuck here. We have nowhere to go because we're just bending from the middle of our back. So untuck the pelvis. Feel the lower back start to move in. Keeping the knees bent, lift your sit bones up and feel it's like your whole spine can unravel more freely over your thighs. Now breathe here for a few breaths. Some of you may feel ready to start to work towards straighter legs. That's fine. Otherwise, keep the knees bent and keep focusing on more of the action of untucking right now. And that will get you so much further in the long run, rather than bending or rounding or hunching from your upper back. Place the hands onto the shins and lift and lengthen your spine. Now bring your hands to your hips. Draw your shoulders back, root down through the legs, and slowly come on all the way up to stand in Tadasana. Arms by your sides. Press the top of the thighs back. Lengthen your tailbone. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Again here, untuck the pelvis, tilt the pelvis forward, press your thighs back and come all the way down. Inhale, lift the chest halfway and lengthen. Hands can go to the shins here. Exhale, plank pose. Lower all the way down slowly. Draw the shoulders back and curl up to cobra pose. Exhale, slowly lower and press back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees. Untuck the pelvis. Feel the lower back start to tilt, to go in, and then press the top of the thighs into that space. Keep the pelvis untucking as you press your thighs back, press your ankles back. Lift your armpits away from the mat as you soften your chest towards your thighs. And then again, walk or hop to your hands, top of the mat. Hands to the shins, lift and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale, sweep the arms out to come all the way up this time. Exhale and release. We'll do one more Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, fold over and down. Inhale, hands go to the shins, lift and lengthen. Exhale, plank pose. From plank, lower all the way down. Draw your shoulders back. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Exhale, lower. And press back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, untuck the pelvis. Feel the sit bones lifting, the lower back going in. In that space, press the top of your thighs and the base of your shins back. Slowly working to straighten your legs. Good. Come on down, take a little pause in child's pose. Big toes touching, knees apart. Rest the forehead, reach the fingertips forward. Come on back to downward dog. Bring the feet in a little closer toward each other, and inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. Now bend the knee, and this time we're going to open up that hip. Now what happens here as we open the hip often is that left armpit, that whole left side starts to collapse down. So lift up your left armpit. Don't let it collapse. Press equal weight through both hands. And then press the outer left hip back. Outer left hip back. Now straighten the right leg and square your hip. Wrap the right hip down. Take a big step with the right foot all the way through between your hands and turn your left heel down. So we're going to make our way to triangle pose, Trikonasana. Here you can use a block if you need. So like this, any height that you need, use it, or you place your fingertips on the mat outside the ankle. Now turn your belly and your chest and begin to push the mat away with the ball of the right foot until the right leg is straight. Try to keep your right hand underneath your right shoulder. Turn your belly and your chest, curl back a little and take your left arm straight up. Now charge the legs with power. Hug the leg muscles to the bones. Press the inner left thigh back and press the right big toe mound down. Bring your left hand back to your hip. Now bend your right knee. Keep the block if you need it. We're going to place the fingertips still next to the right ankle. Now we're going to press that right knee against the right arm and keep the kneecap tracking in line with the second toe. Now turn your belly up. Turn your chest up, keeping that right knee pressing against the arm. And what you should feel here is a big opening on your outer right hip. So you feel like it's strengthening and toning and opening all at the same time. Now reach your left arm up and then glide it overhead. Gazing up to the sky for one more breath. Now bring your left hand back to your hip. One more pose here. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Step the back foot closer to the front foot. With or without a block, slide the right hand out in front. Stand really strong on that right foot and lift your left leg up behind you. Point your left toes to the left. Again, can you feel the outer right hip toning, strengthening as you turn the belly and the chest and take your left arm up? Full breath here. Bend the right knee and take a big step back. And we'll step straight into plank pose and cycle through a slow vinyasa. It can be cobra again, which I'm going to do, or it can be upward facing dog. Pressing back to downward dog. Now bring the feet in a little closer toward each other and lift your left leg up as you inhale. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Press the outer right hip back
And lift up that right armpit. Try to keep your shoulders even, level with each other. Press equally through both hands. Now straighten the left leg and square the hip. Wrap the left hip down and take a big step with that left foot all the way through between your hands. Turn the right heel down. Trikonasana first, triangle first. So left hand goes on the outside of your left ankle. Remember, you use your block if you need. Push the mat forward with the ball of the left foot until the leg is straight. Just be mindful not to lock the knee. Turn your belly up, turn your chest up, and stretch the right arm up to the sky. Now feel the muscles engaging in the legs, hugging them to the bones. The inner right thigh moves back. Press the left big toe mound down. For one more breath here, gazing up to the fingertips. Now you'll bring your right hand to your hip and start to bend the left knee. Now, we're going to track that left kneecap in line with the second toe. With the left hand outside the ankle, press the left knee against the left arm. Keep pressing it, and you should feel already a strong toning action in your outer left hip. Maintain that and turn the belly up and the chest up. And take the right arm up and then sweep it all the way over. Keep turning the belly up, turning the chest up. And then right hand goes back to the hip, look down. Half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana, step the back foot closer to the front foot. Slide the fingertips out in front of you. Lift the right leg behind, pressing the right foot as if it's pushing against the wall. Turn the belly and the chest, and if you feel stable, you can take the right arm and reach it up. Same toning should be in the outer left hip. Now bend the left knee and big step back again. Plank pose, cycle through your vinyasa. Press all the way back, downward facing dog. Starting with the knees bent and working slowly to press the thighs back. Remember, the pelvis is tipping forward. The sit bones are lifting, the groin is lifting as you press your thighs back. That way you're going to get into some of those deep, tight places. Good. Now walk forward to your hands. Fold over. Lift the chest halfway. Bring the hands to the hips. Draw the shoulders back and root down to rise up. Good. Okay. So take a moment here and stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. Have the feet slightly apart, parallel to each other. Shake out your arms for a moment. Lifting up through the crown of the head. Remember, in our previous practice, we put the block between the inner thighs. So remember that action of hugging in towards the imaginary block. Now as you start to shift the weight over towards the left foot, keep the left foot rooting down, all four corners of the foot rooting. Grab the right ankle for tree pose, Vrikshasana. Place the foot to the inner thigh. Now bring your hands together in front of your heart. Keep pressing the left thigh back.
dropping the outer right hip down. If you feel steady here, you can raise the arms all the way up. If not, leave them by the ears. Maybe you bring the arms in, palms touch overhead. Now bring the hands back down. Try to keep the right foot lifted. We're going to reach for the ankle just to give it a little bit of assistance. Take it away from the inner thigh, and now you're going to cross it over your left thigh. Bring the hands back to the heart and begin to sit down. Like there's a chair behind you. You're going to sit back and down toward that chair. Now you're going to either stay with this or keep folding forward one more phase, fingertips down. Hook the right toes around the outer left arm and straighten your left leg and fold over. Then rebend the left leg, sit the hips back and down. Bring the hands back to your heart. And then come all the way up and release the right foot down. Shake it out. Whew, all right, let's do the other side. So feet parallel. First start in Tadasana, just standing strong. And then begin to shift the weight over toward the right foot. Feel the four corners really rooting. Grab the left ankle and place the foot to the inner right thigh for a tree pose, Vrikshasana, the second side. Hands together at your heart. Breathing here. Whoop. If you come out of the pose, which is very normal, you just come right back in. Now, we're going to reach for we're going to take the arms up first. So reach the arms up if you feel stable. If you don't worry. The other option here would be to hold on to the wall with one hand. So you're not struggling for balance. Hold on to the side of the couch, whatever you have available. Bring your hands back in front of your heart. Now reach for the ankle. Take it away from the inner thigh and cross it over the right thigh. Bring your palms together and sit the hips back. Like there's a chair behind you. You're going to sit down onto that chair. Keep the chest lifted. Legs fold forward. Then hook the left toes around the right arm. Straighten the standing leg and fold. Bend the right knee again. Sit the hips back and down and lift back up, hands together at the heart. Stand strong, come all the way up and bring your left foot down. Whew, feel that one. All right, so shake it out. And then we're going to take a pigeon pose. So you'll need your 2 blocks for that. So put them at the top of your mat. And then come to downward facing dog. Now what often happens with pigeon here is we tend to kind of flop down onto the mat. So we're going to try not to do that today. You're going to lift your right leg up behind you and draw the right knee forward and move it towards the right hand, right side of the mat. Bring your right knee down and the top of your right foot. Then, keeping your back toes tucked under, put your left knee down. But notice here how high I am up off the ground. That's really important. Now I'm going to bring my blocks in. And I'm going to keep my hips this high right now. Okay? And of course that's going to be different for everybody. But what we want to avoid is flopping down into the hips, because it's not good for our hip joints to do that. So we've got to cultivate the strength to support that range of motion. All right, so you're up on your fingertips on the blocks. Now you're going to wrap that left hip point more forward.
Draw from your feet and engage your legs. Keep the blocks close to your right shin. Press down into the blocks and try to curl back a little bit. And keep this sense of lifting, this sense of strength in the pelvic floor, the core of your body. Now you're going to start to come forward. Yes, you can come down to your elbows, but still notice here how I'm not collapsing. So maybe you can bring your right shin a little further forward, and then I'm going to ease my way down very slowly and carefully. So what I'm looking for here in this pose is a balance of strength, support, strength around the joints, and then a sense of release. So strength and softness simultaneously. It's important to begin to feel the difference between softening into a pose versus collapsing into a pose. Every time we collapse, that's when we put stress on our joints, and we feel it down the road. If we're doing that repetitively over and over again. So now stay here. Notice how I've got my elbows on the blocks. So I'm not trying to get my elbows down, but I'm focusing much more on the length and the alignment of my spine and my neck. So everything feels well aligned and spacious. Last few breaths here. I recommend keeping the back toes tucked the whole time to keep the back leg more active. And then start to come up slowly, move your blocks forward, and go back through downward dog. Now switch to the other side. So lift your left leg up and draw the knee forward and to the left. Bring the left shin down, the top of the foot. Keep your back toes tucked and bring your back knee down. Bring your blocks in. Again, notice how high I am off the mat here. I'm not sinking down too quickly. Now I'm going to square my hips. I'm wrapping this right hip point more forward. Lifting up from the core and curling back first before I come down. So it's a sense of buoyancy, a sense of strength. Right? So eventually, as you get stronger here, you can do this without your hands. You can support yourself properly from your core. Okay, now keep that strength and begin to come forward slowly to your elbows. Here is where maybe you bring that left shin a little further forward, but please be careful of the knee. And then very, very slowly, you will ease your way into it. So you have a nice balance of effort, of strength, support for the joints, and then a softening into that place. Sense of ease. Last few breaths, keeping the spine long and spacious. And we'll slowly make our way back to downward facing dog. And this time the down dog is going to be with the feet as wide as the mat. It's a really nice wide position. Again, untucking the pelvis, lifting the sit bones. And you're going to walk your hands all the way back towards your feet now. All the way back towards your feet. Now bend the knees. And you're going to take your arms inside of your legs. And see if you can reach for your ankles. the backs of your ankles with your hands. Fold over here. And then lift your sit bones, lift your sit bones. Push down through your feet. And then bend the knees again. And this time you're going to turn your feet out slightly and come down into Malasana, into a squat. I'm going to come to face you here. So as you come into your squat, your heels may not come down onto the mat all the way. So if that's the case, you take your blanket and you put it underneath your heels so that your heels will be on something. Slide the arms inside of the legs and lift your chest up. Push down through your feet so your pose here feels buoyant rather than heavy like this, collapsing down. Push down and lift up. Lift your chest up towards your thumbs. Soft breath as always. Okay, we're going to sit down onto the mat. Stretch the legs out in front of you. Give them a little bit of a massage. And then grab your blanket to sit on. Okay, so now once you're sitting on the edge of your blanket, make sure it's folded thick enough that it's going to have some impact. If it's too flat, then it's no point. There's no point in you sitting on it, right? Now, as you sit on the edge of it, same reason that we've already been looking at is to tilt the pelvis more forward. So if you put one of your hands on your lower back, you should feel the concave curve, right? The lower part of your spine moving in more. The top of the sacrum moving in. So now, keeping your legs straight out in front of you, you're going to take the hands to the top of the thigh and do a manual action of internal rotation, and then same on the other one. Now, as the thighs turn in, bring your fingertips behind you, look at your kneecaps, they should be pointing straight up toward the ceiling, and the toes as well, straight up, not out to the side. Okay, now keeping this, press down through the fingertips, press down through the top of your thighs and lift your chest. Now we're going to open the legs out to the side and do the same actions with the legs open. So make sure you don't go to your widest possible place. Bring it in a little bit from there. Sit on the edge of the blanket and then a manual inward rotation of the top of each thigh. Turn the thighs in. So your kneecaps and your toes again should be pointing straight up, not back. Feel the same tipping forward of the pelvis, or another way again would be to say untuck the pelvis. Untuck the pelvis. Move the sit bones back and apart. If you saw yourself in the mirror, you should see your lower back going in more. Now fingertips behind you, press down and lift your chest. Make the legs strong as if you're doing a standing pose. Hug the muscles to the bones and either stay like this, keeping the spine upright, or bring the fingertips forward and begin to hinge slowly forward from the pelvis. So trying the best not to round in your upper back. Chest open. Last couple breaths here. Think cobra pose in the upper back. Forward fold in the hips. And then on your inhale, rise up slowly. Take hold of the inner knees and gently bring them back in. And the legs back in. Now we're going to stack the shins one on top of the other here. So let's start with the left shin first. And you're going to place it on your mat so that it's parallel to the top edge. And then you'll flex the right ankle. Keeping the ankle firm is important to protect the knee. And you'll either stack the right ankle on top like this, so it's right on top of the left shin, or if that's too much, put the foot in front. Okay? Either one is fine. Now, as you align your legs here, the soles of the feet should be facing the sides of the room. The feet should be lined up with the knees. So you really have to cross the feet further. Sometimes it's further than you would think. And then the shins are stacked one in front of each other or one directly on top. Now fingertips go behind, press down and back and lift your chest. More challenging here, but can you find that same action again of tilting the pelvis slightly forward? Moving the lower back in and lifting all the way up through the spine. When the pelvis tilts, it becomes like a ripple all the way up through the spine. But when the pelvis tucks the other way, the whole spine collapses down. Now either stay again or come forward slowly. Open your chest. Lengthen the spine again. Cobra pose in the upper back. Forward bend in the hips. Breathing into it. Tilting the pelvis forward. And keeping the feet and the legs firm and engaged. And then inhale, come on up and just simply switch the cross of the legs. Straighten them out. And then place the right shin first, so it's parallel to the top edge of your mat. Flex the left ankle and then stack the shins or place the left shin in front. The soles of the feet again should be facing the sides of the room, evenly facing the sides of the room. The feet are lined up with the knees and the shins are stacked. Fingertips behind you, push down and back and lift your chest. Again, if this is already plenty, if you feel like, whoa, this is it, this is enough, stay here. You don't have to come forward. If you're ready to come a little further, then go for it, slowly hinging without rounding the back. Keep the chest open, keep the neck lined up with the rest of your spine. Inhale, come on all the way back up slowly. Stretch your legs forward in front of you. Give them a little massage. And we're ready for Shavasana. So take your blanket for your head. Set it up, make sure you're warm enough and come down to lay on your back. Now as you come down, turn the palms of your hands up and slide the arms out slightly away from the body. Separate the legs and let the thighs be heavy and grounded. Notice how your body feels now compared to when you started your practice, and particularly your hips and your legs. Because that's where we've really been focusing on today.
What sensations are there? Feeling the thighs so relaxed and heavy now. So all the tension that we brought up to the surface, it's like it's draining out now. Just draining away from your legs and your hips. Out of your body. Back into the earth. Very softly start to move the fingers and toes. Let your movements be very soft, very gentle as you bend your knees and roll to your right side. Use your hands to come on up to sit. Sitting on your block or your blanket, sitting tall. Drawing the hands together in front of your heart. Lifting your heart up towards your thumbs as you gently bow your head. Pausing to honor yourself, your body, to appreciate how beautifully your body works for you every day and every moment. Appreciate the health of your body. And gently lift your head. Honoring each other as we bow. Namaste. Thank you all so much for practicing with me. It's really becoming a pleasure to do this for you. I hope it's helping. Please always leave comments, questions, anything that comes up for you, anything that I could improve upon, anything that you would like to cover. We will continue to cover all the different parts of the body. We'll work gradually moving deeper. So we're working on the hips today, starting to learn some of those actions. As we continue with the hips, we'll start to explore some more deeper poses gradually and skillfully. So this is also a donation-based class, so this is offered to you freely. If you do feel that you're able to donate, that would be really appreciated at this time. I've left my Venmo and PayPal addresses at the bottom there for you to see. So again, I hope you have a beautiful week and weekend, and I will see you next time. Namaste.